What's happening, everybody? I'm here with Paul Bashir, one of the co-founders of Anonymous for the Voiceless. How you doing, Paul?
Very well. I'm glad you said my name correctly. You're one of the rare people that can say it correctly. Paul Bashir. People say Bashir usually. Skip over the A.
I asked us all about that, your partner, so I cheated. But
research.
Yeah.
Bro.
So Paul here, if you guys aren't familiar, Anonymous for the Voiceless is why don't you tell people, just give people a little summary.
Sure. I'm the co-founder and director of Anonymous for the Voiceless, which is a global vegan activism organization. We specialize in street activism, where we talk to people on the streets about the largest injustice on the planet, which is animal exploitation. We do it in a very appeasing manner so that people come to us and we don't chase people down. You know, that's very important to us, that we allow people to have the conversation with us on their own accord and they come to the conclusion on their own. And so we set up like an art performance on the streets, and we have an educational element where we have outreachers having very well thought out and structured conversations with people that get people to a vegan conclusion. And we're doing really well. In the last 2 years, we've reached out to at least 130,000 people taking the issue seriously. And we've also created a community of activists where people can come together and within their own communities and really get involved in animal rights activism in an effective way, and put all that frustration that we have into a form of activism that is therapeutic and results in people actually listening and taking the issue seriously.
It's been amazing to see what's happened, because you guys have only been doing this for just over 2 years now, and it's gone from started in Melbourne and it's now in over 400 cities around the world. I think you said over 600.
600 now.
600 now. Crazy. Yeah. So 600 cities.
Yeah.
And
62
countries, which is insane.
It is. It's crazy. The growth has become the fastest growing animal rights organization ever. And we've got an amazing team, probably the best team in the world, and we've just got amazing organizers, amazing people on board, and the community, like I said, the communities within each city are so strong, and the global community as a whole is so strong. It's basically like one big family. That's how we feel as an org. So couldn't be more grateful and proud of the org.
It is amazing. And so you're the guy to talk to, man. You're the guy to talk to about animal rights activism, vegan activism, because you have so much experience working with activists. You know all of the main. I mean, if you guys have heard of Earthling Ed, James Aspie, Joey Carbstrong, these guys, like, these are your homies. These are your, these are the people that you're working with and your comrades and your. So I guess let's take it from the non-vegan perspective. So if people who are watching this are non-vegans and you still haven't clicked off the video, a lot of comments I get on my channel are like, vegans are cool, maybe they respect vegans, but it's like, okay, as soon as you start talking about it or forcing it down my throat, that's not okay. Like, people are they can allow vegans to do what they do, but we're supposed to sort of not talk about it, I guess, is sort of what some people would argue, is that vegans are sort of pushy. And what is your response to that? How can we help these non-vegans to understand why we're being vocal about it? What's our reasoning behind that?
Our reasoning is because we have taken the time to learn about an injustice, and when we learn about it, we realize it's not only an injustice, it's the largest injustice, the most pressing issue of our time, environmentally, in terms of our personal health, human rights issues. All of these things are factored into veganism. They address so many issues that are pressing in our world. Human rights issues, leading cause of environmental destruction, the chronic diseases that we suffer from as humans, and we constantly see our family and friends around us suffering from heart disease, cancer, diabetes. And so we as caring individuals want to see people around us feeling better, living better, and doing the right thing by others around the world. And animals do count as others. They aren't inanimate objects. We are animals ourselves, so it's quite easy to relate to the plight of an animal. When you stand on a dog's foot, for example, you know exactly what I mean. You know that animals feel pain just like you do. And that's something that we all need to really acknowledge and stop ignoring. Once we do finally wake up to this as a whole on the mass scale, it's going to be the darkest and ugliest part of our history in terms of the human species. We're literally going to look at this time where we exploited animals for food products and for any other product or service as quite literally the most heinous and disgusting part of our history. And so the sooner that we realize that this is not something that we can continue doing and that we make a difference, the better.
Yeah.
And that's why vegans speak up, because we want to see this revolution take place. We want people to feel better. We still eat delicious food. We don't miss out on burgers, pizzas, pastas, cakes, cookies, ice cream. We eat everything that non-vegans eat. We just eat the vegan version, which doesn't involve body parts. So what we just want to do is eat food that's ethical yet delicious and healthy, and we want to eradicate animal exploitation because we wouldn't want it done to ourselves. Many non-vegans would of course like us to not speak up because it creates discomfort. You have to change something within you. Nobody likes change. You don't want to have to face the fact that it's an immoral act that you're contributing to and participating in. Totally understand, of course, but we do need to address it for the greater good and for everybody involved, and that's why vegans speak up. And I'm sure you can understand if it was something that you were personally dealing with. See, the definition of privilege is to only care about something if it affects you personally.
Right.
And so if that's outside of that, like if it doesn't affect you personally, of course it's going to make sense that you don't really care about it. But and what's happening to animals doesn't even affect vegans.
Right.
But we see what's happening to the animals and we want to speak up for them. But obviously we're doing that because we understand what it would be like to go through that process, but we don't know what it would we can't even imagine fully, because humans have really, the amount of victims involved in what's happening with animals and animal agriculture, just animal agriculture alone, has never happened to humans on that scale, not even close.
Yeah.
But all the wars that have ever existed in human history, we trump all those victims in just one day with the amount of bloodshed that is caused by animal agriculture. So
crazy stuff.
What I'm trying to say is that if you personally deal with racism, let's say you're a black person, or like myself, I've dealt with racism almost my whole life, you would take the issue of racism seriously. If somebody speaks up against oppression of minority groups, of blacks, of Asians, etc., you would take that seriously, and you would never say to that person, please stop talking about it. You would never say that, because you understand that that is an important issue that needs to be talked about, right?
Absolutely. So we understand that we're not making you feel that comfortable by talking about veganism, but it's necessary, if we were to if Paul and I realized how wrong all this stuff is that's going on, and we went off and we went and ate our tofu burgers and delicious food, by the way, in the corner, and didn't speak about it, like how are we ever, you're not going to the grocery store and seeing all of these injustices that are going on. Like, it's not given to, like, nobody's putting this out there. It's only vegans are the people who are putting this out there and raising this awareness. So somebody's got to do it, right? And that leads to the next thing.
Well, the animals can't do it.
The animals can't do it, exactly. And so then the next audience to speak to is my vegan audience, and the people who are watching this channel, and they get veganism, they understand its importance, but they are feeling hesitant to speak up about it because of this stigma of the vegan who, how do you know someone's vegan? They'll tell you, ha 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 ha. And then James Aspey's response, how do you know someone's not vegan? They can tell you the stupid joke, right?
Yeah, they tell you that shit.
What do you say to those vegans who are maybe they're worried about the stigma of speaking up about it, or maybe they're just lacking confidence, and what do you say to them, and to try to encourage them to maybe speak up and maybe go to these activism events and just be a little bit more vocal about it?
Well, I would say that the longer that you remain inactive, the longer you corrode your soul. You really are going to be sitting in a state of negativity for quite some time if you don't put all of that frustration that you have into action. Now, I think every vegan can agree that we just want to have conversations with non-vegans that go well. They understand what we're trying to say and what the goal is, which is to be vegan. They really get it. And that's what we want. Now, with the Cube of Truth, it's a very accommodating format for you to get out onto the streets and actually have conversations that will go well, because people come to you, they stop, they watch the footage, and then we engage in conversations that allow them to answer the questions, not necessarily lecturing people. So we ask provocative questions, and people just have to simply answer them and see where they sit on the issue. And what you'll find is, once you do a Cube of Truth, and once you do multiple, once you master your craft at talking with people and etc., you'll find that it's therapy. It's quite literally therapeutic for you to put all of that anger and frustration for what's happening, and what's happening, into activism that's effective. That's the only way to alleviate all of that negative energy and to transmute it into positive energy. It's quite literally the only way. And as a result, you'll feel fulfilled, uplifted, motivated, and inspired to do a lot more than you're currently doing because of how good it feels. So the faster that you get active, the better. The longer you stay inactive, the more you will corrode your soul, I guarantee you. I mean, that's why there's so many angry vegans, because they're sitting in a heap, knowing exactly what's going on, but not putting it into something that's effective. And that's why there's so many people online just losing their shit at non-vegans all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, actually. That's probably because the thing is with these Cube of Truth events, as you were talking about, you know, we're not out there like stopping people and like telling people that they have to look at this. We're just out there putting it out there, and then the people who are concerned and who do seem to care, those are the people that you're able to engage in conversation with. So it's a great format because it's sort of like this big net, and like anybody who doesn't care, they can walk right on by. That's not going to be a productive discussion anyways. Right. And a lot of vegans, maybe they're not comfortable doing street activism, so what they do is they go online, and those are the people they're talking to. So these vegans are speaking with people who don't care, and that's very frustrating. That's very frustrating. So by going to these events, you know, you're putting yourself in that context where you're basically only talking to people who are going to be receptive to the message. If you speak to someone and they really don't care, it's like, okay, like, have a nice night, you're free to go. Like, I'm not holding you here, right? But you're speaking to people who are interested, and you're really having an impact because, like I was saying before, this information is just not out there. Like, we need more people putting it out there, because there are so many people who genuinely do not know about what's going on, about these injustices. They're just, it's hidden, right?
Yeah.
And so by putting it out there for the people who are concerned and having conversations with those people, you know, it's great. It's a win-win situation, right? So yeah, I found it to be totally therapeutic, because it's just amazing, some of the conversations you have with people, and it's very inspiring, you know. So yeah, I think that's great. Is there any final words you want to say to anybody, and how can they find out more about their local AV chapter, you know, if they want to do some activism?
You can find out about chapters local to you on our website. If you go to the locations section, you can find all the cities that we have Cube of Truth events set up in, and if there isn't one set up in your area, we can actually help you to set up a Cube of Truth event or an official AV chapter in your city. With our full support, we make it as easy as possible. You can join the team, join the family, and we can all participate in bringing this revolution to fruition.
That's fantastic, man.
And I really recommend that you do activism, because when you're going vegan, you're going into a place of non-action. So you go from doing something, but it was the wrong thing,
right,
to doing nothing when you're vegan.
Right. You stop contributing to the harm that's going on,
right,
and now you're not contributing, but
now you're just eating plants.
And now you're just eating plants, right? And then take the next step.
Now that you know about it, you have to speak up, because when you become an activist, then you're doing something again, but this time you're doing something in the right direction. You're doing something that's important. You need to speak up, because if we don't speak up, who will? The animals can't. Cows cannot fight for their plight to end. They cannot end it, because they can fight all they want, and they will. But we've bred these animals to be very docile, and that's been done on purpose. We don't breed lions into existence and farm them for meat, because that would be very hard to control and slaughter. So we farm animals that are docile and easy, and they're gentle, and they trust us, and they're the ones that we exploit and kill. And they can't fight to end this. So we need to speak up, and when we learn about what's happening, it's an obligation for us to speak up. That isn't a burden. It's liberating for you to realize the opportunity that you have to change the world in such a big way. Because like I was saying before, veganism does really impact the world in such a massive way. Yeah. So it's an opportunity. And I think a lot of vegans sort of view it as a burden, like, oh, I don't really want to have to speak up all the time. It's uncomfortable, and I don't want to get into arguments and etc. But really, once you find an effective form of doing it, you find that it's an amazing opportunity to change the world.
It is. And it's amazing how much of an impact you can have in different areas. I mean, we're helping animals. We're also helping the environment. It's literally, if you want to do something positive for this world, and it's so easy to get caught up in all the shit that's going on, like, you know, promoting veganism, vegan activism is probably, I mean, if you can think of a more efficient way of having a positive impact on the planet, write it down below.
Right.
But I mean, like, it's pretty much the most efficient way to have a positive impact, and it does feel amazing. So
it feels like a Swiss Army knife.
It
for
is.
saving the planet. You know,
Yeah.
like, it covers so many issues in such a big way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Paul, man, it's been an honor having you here in Bangkok.
Thank you,
Paul's
brother.
been in Bangkok, getting giving a boost to the Cube of Truth events here in Bangkok, and
It's been awesome.
yeah. So it's been just great having you around. Thank you so much for all your work you do, man.
Thank you too, man. I really appreciate everything you've been doing with the Chiang Mai chapter. Jason's been revitalizing the Chiang Mai chapter,
Cube of
taking it
Truth,
on.
Chiang Mai. Come join us. Find any city you're in, wherever you are around the world. Chiang Mai, Bangkok. No, maybe not any city. Well, any city, because if there's not one that exists, like Paul said, you can start it up.
Even a small town.
And I can attest to how easy it is, because honestly, it is very, very easy. Super, super easy. Anybody can do it, and it's just like the impact that you have is absolutely massive. So thanks again, Paul.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, check Paul out. The website is anonymousforthevoiceless.com.
.org. Oh yeah, .org or .com. Yeah.
Or cubeoftruth.com. I'll write them down below so you can see for sure. But yeah, go check it out if you want to learn more. And yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Thank you, man.